some areas of life, there is no second chance. You have to do it right the first time. Every time you do this certain deed, it has to be done totally correct. That's why, you know, pilots have massive checklists before they become airborne and stuff, because they're in a severe environment. It's the same way for a tactician, for a fighter. You exist in that environment. I deal with the world as if it, not to say it's a battle, hostile, conflict, but I deal with it like a chess game. You work through the series of situations, doing your best to win. It's the same with this. We're here not to necessarily compete. The Riddle of Steel has never been a competition-based thing. There's many other seminars that are based around that, such as the Bowie seminar and other things, where you can actually fight. If you like that sort of thing, then that's why that exists. This has always been a tactical buffet, just like a all-you-can-eat place. You come in, you try a little bit of this, you try a little bit of that. You try to gravitate towards what's best for you. That's what the Riddle of Steel has always offered, is a tactical buffet, helping you to find your own truth, not dictating what I perceive as truth. Now you got to do it because I'm the king shit. Not at all. What it is I'll help you find what it's about for you and set your feet upon the path. Some cultures have a lot of tradition, a lot of ritual associated with the knife. Others don't. It's solely a tool. It's always better to have a high level of respect for other people's equipment and gear, and always be cautious around a weapon. Otherwise, bad things can happen. When everyone's a weapon-bearing individual, it's a polite society. When there's only one person with the weapons or the gold, that person's king. So that's why it's important to be armed. It always has been. History has proven 1,000 times over that those societies that are unarmed, become unarmed or whatever, usually get ground under the heel. Societies that preserve some kind of weapon-bearing abilities usually come out okay. So this is about a tactical camp where we're going to practice, train, develop, reach a higher plateau, review some old stuff, learn some new stuff. Some of the things are going to be direct application. A stab to the belly is a stab to the belly. On the other hand, when we go conceptual, I'm going to be showing you certain things that, what could it be? Well, what do you want it to be? That's the nature of a conceptual device versus a straight-on, limited line, in-the-box technique or technical device. You've often heard about knife fighters being treacherous, sneaky damn knife fighters. You've got to be. You're outclassed by guns. When people know that you've got a knife, they get baseball bats, they run, they get pistols, rifles, terrified. So, to do your job, yes, deceit, deception has to be very, very high on the scale. Much higher on the scale than your ability to do a perfect cut and all this stuff. That's all valid, but it takes a lot more guts. I'm not looking to make a perfect cut. I just need to have the energy, the drive, the will, and the ability to move in on somebody and do it. That's in that zone, the left-hand path. The right-hand path, like I say, the dueling, there's a bit more honor there. I'm not going to pull a weapon on someone who doesn't have a weapon. This is more about an equal fight. And we'll talk about why the dual side of things is truly one of the higher levels, even though it's the most misunderstood. Less thought of. Stupid. You're not going to have a knife duel, are you? People aren't tracking. They've missed the point. So we'll try to find that point and explain it to you. So we'll be operating between this hardcore street tactic, anything goes, versus excellent knife fighting, the classic sense. And we'll try and break them down and show you each direction, which for, and why. That way, we'll still do the developmental exercises, try to separate them from those two veins as well. We'll still keep the triad that I always shoot for, the 3 legs of the tripod. In the past, we've taught the dexterity drill as a 6-part exercise. The 6-part exercise tended to kind of confuse people, So what we're going to do is break that 6-part exercise down into 2 basic components, and that is the spin and the twirl. The spin is a horizontal rotation. The twirl is a vertical rotation. One produces edge out, the other point out. We teach this for dexterity purposes, weapon familiarity reasons, not for combative reasons, merely weapon association and knowledge of its balance and feel. The first exercise, the rotational spin on the horizontal plane, starts with edge in and rolls like so. Let's try that again. Notice the edge is out from me. Simple rotation. When I move my hand from, let's say, the saber grip, I jump back. Let's try that again. Saber grip, jump back. This necking back allows me to clear the hilt so that I can rotate the knife cleanly. If I didn't neck back, the knife locks up in my grip. So I practice necking back 1 step, then clearing. The rotation occurring with the middle finger and thumb. The twirl, the second movement, operates on the vertical line. From the edge in again, I twirl, producing either edge in or edge out, depending on how you load the knife. From this position, the twirl starts with the thumb, the palm pad, and the index finger. I grip, the middle finger crosses behind, the knife is rotated and clasped. Done quickly, it looks like this. Let's try that again. In saber grip, I neck back and rotate. The necking back is the same as you did from saber to the spin. On the spin, the edge was produced. On the twirl that you're working on now, the second one, the point is produced, not the edge. But the point is now forwards. So those are the 2 basic exercises. Those elements can then be used as a hand exchange. They can be used to elevate the knife to either higher or lower positions, depending on where you want to send it. If the knife is held in the average center guard, from there, these are very quick manipulations. Although non-combative in purpose, only dexterity for now, they have the possibility of later in your career becoming combative elements when done correctly with dexterity and skill. Those were the 2 dexterity exercises that I recommend that all knife people practice, staying away from the other more complicated exercises until they're ready for them. I always had many of the methods that we call the buoy methods and things like this under my repertoire, my skill. But it wasn't until I had a knife break in 3 pieces and then I had no knife that I really started looking into the Filipino arts. And that's when I started pursuing them. And the logic there was, if you want to learn to defend against a knife fighter, or even have the hope to, the idea would be you must become a knife fighter so that you know how they think and how they act, how they react. Then you may possibly, probably not, but possibly have a chance against a knife fighter. You will know how they act and how they move and what their tricks are. Some are very simple, some are very profound. Some don't matter whether you're armed, unarmed, whatever. They're just out to kill you, just like we're talking. So I don't want you to think that, geez, he's training us to be killers or to cut unarmed people. No, you may be the unarmed person. You need to understand how people can deploy on you. The best way is to learn it. That way you'll have both sides of the coin. You'll see the full picture rather than half picture. So what we're trying to do is not create a whole bunch of assassins or, very deadly people with knives. I doubt any of you will do that, legal, law-abiding citizens that you are. But what we do want to be able to do is be aware of how someone can deploy a knife on us very quickly, or if we have to, how we deploy. Sometimes the only way to extinguish a fire is to light a backfire. You know what I'm saying? You need to do this. You don't want to do it, but you must. When those times come, you need something that works. Direct application, very little theory, just do. And that's what some of the things we're going to be touching on now. Still part of that left-hand path of I don't care what you have, what you don't have, but now we're going to take it one level deeper. Mind you, many times, even if I pull a knife from wherever it's hidden, wherever it may be, the idea that I'm going to then hide it is a psychological ploy. Know that this is an icon. Icons control us. You know, when we see the cigarette with the circle, with a bar through it, it says no smoking. But there's no words, but it's just a symbol. Well, icons, symbols tell us things. They control us. And this is an icon. It generates fear, hatred, self-doubt. Just by producing it, many things start rolling that otherwise wouldn't. And I can produce it in front of all of you, or even if this were a live blade and nothing would happen because of our environment. But if we were in another environment, and you just seen me step out from behind a dumpster and do this, and you didn't have a weapon or anything and it was dark, oh yeah, shit would change in you right away and profoundly. That's what we're talking about, is that kind of intent that causes men to turn inside. I think I can do this. They get hit with that intent and they can't do it. We'll discuss this at some other point of how to work through that can't point if you ever get there. But right now, we're the ones creating that in other people. I don't want it created in me. If it does, like I said, we're going to address that at a later point. But right now, I'm the generator. I'm creating that feeling in others. So even if I pull this with a flourish in my arm when I come towards him, for no more than the sheer psychological in my arm when I come towards him, for no more than the sheer psychological impact it has of how it makes people feel. What's this bastard doing? I did that once in an eastern seaboard city against 5 people who thought they were going to take a car. And I just said, you know, this is bullshit. I'm not leaving a brand new Maxima. And did like that and just moved and hid the knife purposefully. Made a big show out of it and moved. And 5 people left that car. Even though it was only a knife, they may have had guns. But there was no doubt what I was up to. But what threw them was the fact that I just didn't take the knife in advance. That I took the knife and put it behind my back and smiled. So sometimes the psychological blow, boom, is harder than the physical blow. Turns the tables, man. So you got to have this in your head. So number 1 position is right here. Why do I say that's number 1? Because it takes very little flourish. See? And the knife's out. If your knife opens quick, that bee's telling me something.
Yeah.
If your knife opens quick, that's where you're at. If you got to thumb it, then make sure you're on the money. But the idea is to do just a casual quick draw and move in. If you have a folder, we'll show you how this deploys. For right now, come to number 1 with me. Now, when you do this, just keep it low. Let your hands hang by your side. See, I can't see Mike's knife. Go ahead, try. Let me see if I see those knives. That's it. When you look at people, look them right in the eye. When you lock onto people, lock right between their eyes and look right at them. That's the very best. And just bang and look right at them and move right in. They can't do nothing. It's great. So that's what you want. You practice striking that pose, even if you stand this way normally. Practice striking and looking someone right square in the eyes. And put this back and just relax and learn to walk. And so what if they know you got something? That's half the fun. Let them know. Let them know that you know what I'm saying. Whether you flourish and hide or quick hide. But keep it behind there. Number 2, let's move it up to our kidneys. What do you want? You know what I mean? This is another good one. Now, like if we're above a door frame where the frame is, you know, this is the frame, then you want to lean against that frame and say, hey, what's going on? When someone's coming in the door, that way you can cut anything that comes in. That's a good one. Because here, they see your arm, you can look like this inside a door. But when you're looking at someone in their own house, you can look up. You can peek in, see, but you can't look up. So that's the best. So if you're using something, go high and lean, see. Even high on the wall like this and lean. And when they come through that door, cut, because they won't be expecting it. So remember, what I'm teaching you isn't just for your body, it's for all kinds of things. Newspapers, etc. Here's a newspaper rolled up, and I have this big knife in there. I carry it all over every day. Nobody knows it's a big knife, you know, but when I want to show them, it's out. That's how it works. So, keep this in mind that we're using a concept. So 2, 3, come to the 3 position. Don't let this show. I want you to do some mirror work. When you practice these, whether it's your folder that you're breaking quick or whatever you're doing, or just a covert, you know, draw, however it works, I want you to do mirror training and look at yourself so that it's like, okay, I can see it now, but I can't now. Absolutely not. Can I relax more and make this a little better? How would I do this if I only had one hand? See, could I exchange from there? So become familiar with your weapon. You say, like the Indonesians, people like this, so that it's not foreign to you. It's not something strange. So that when you can put it in various parts and pull, it won't cut you. You know how to do this. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Very good. Whether you're in this position, this one, or this one, by dropping the knife, I drop the knife front, I drop the knife front, or drop the knife front. Okay, so either way, I'm going to bring that knife about where my groin area is. 1, 2, 3. Now, when you go into connections, understand in the world of knife fighting, there's a bunch of different connections. Depending on the size of the knife, it can be a blade to blade. This is where you'll hear occasionally, you know, the clack of metal. You'll touch blades. It can, meaning steel to steel, steel to flesh, flesh to steel. Point, meaning contact, contact, versus edge, versus puño. So if he's striking me and I move in, there's my facial cut because I engaged with the arm. Bang, see? And pass to cut the low line and gut from here. So you might call that an arm-to-arm in close quarter. Many different ways. Puño versus blade versus live hand. So depending on how you engage the adversary is how you're going to employ. So from here, whatever, you can try this with all 3. 1, 2, 3, I advise. But what you want to do is just kind of keep this one loose. You know, what were you thinking to do to me? Hurt me, perhaps? See what I mean? That kind of thing. It's a questioning thing, because I sure don't want to hurt you, and I don't know you. See what I mean? At that point, you're a peacemaker. But this is the hand that's going to engage. That's why it's there. If they think you got a weapon, let them think. Let them find out the hard way. So, when you're here, okay, what he's going to do, since he's got a weapon or whatever, maybe he's just going to sock me in the chops. It doesn't matter. He's going to deliver something to my high line. Okay, here. I'm going to drop this and cut his fingers off for him. Simple line. So once again, right here is the action. When I drop that, how do I get the knife out? This? No. This. The knife stays there. I move out from behind it. If I do this, it's too slow. So when I do that, I move out and cut. Why? Well, maybe he does have a knife. If it's just a fist, you can be pretty, you know, confident. Even if he tags you, boom, damn, I messed up. It's just a fist. You have a fat lip, you still cut him. But if it's a knife, and he cuts you, you're goner. So what you want to do is get used to hollowing out and come back. Now, rather than doing the karate method, which is Rob delivers 10 times. Hey! Hey! Now he's got to do it 10 times, twice the time. Or we could both do this. Both work the entry simultaneously and grow, saving time. So we're working the same thing. From here, this stays low. I cut, I feed. Simple. This would be the same thing. What do you need? Bang! Right there. And if you hook the butt like that, you almost disarm it. So think you're cutting fingers, cutting hand. Now one guy said, well, how do I not cut my hand? Well, just don't. You know, like that old joke, doctor, it hurts when I do this. What do you think I should do? Then don't do that. You know, it's simple. Don't cut your fingers. What are you thinking of? 1, cut the fingers. 2, cut my fingers, his finger. So I want you to do this. But no, then after this, we're going to take our partner, he'll have deployment there, and we'll just cut, quick. Let's get it going. Hey, hey, introduce yourself. He stays right here. Then he passes me, bringing me to the knife. I stay here. He hits. I bring him to the knife. Hey, hey, introduce yourself. He stays right here. Then he passes me, bringing me to the knife. I stay here. He hits. I bring him to the knife and cut his finger. Notice that when Lassie hits, and if I do this, there goes my thumb. He broke my thumb. Boom, big guy. And you'll see thumbs just bust like that. So this is why you never put a thumb like that. What you do is try to slap, see, and you'll hear a meteor pop as you draw through and cut across, see, and come through. And the idea on doing this, of course, is to have a very low guard. You give him that high shot, see, and then when the guy comes and attacks, he just passes me right into that hand. So we just practice this entry over and over, getting that simple action of the cut, knowing that this could come from any one of, this is an ideal one, that, yeah, it runs right into it. From any position here. This one you just bring to the front, each way. And just, again, I like to hollow my body out versus, you know, so much just moving the knife. But that's the idea. One of the things fellas try to do is get the thumb. Get the thumb joint if you can. Each time. There you go. Irregardless, okay, he'll let go. And I've had guys with big hands, big arms, and they still let go. So the idea here is control and capture the thumb, cut. Control, capture the thumb. Okay. You bring it to the knife. He then engages, he brings it to his knife. So we're literally pushing that hand through. Now we're not opposing, meaning he's already headed this way. So what I'm doing is just backing off. His target may well be here. So one of the things when he does that, see that you have to move out. See how he had to step? Because it was a little more realistic. He went in deeper. So that's the idea of during this catch. Now, even if you get a man here, bang, many times I've had guys like in the sparring sense, like, you know, la, 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 la. First thing, whap, and their knife goes flying. I never cut him with it, just slapped. So when you do this, many times, even if you don't actually catch him, you'll still disarm him and get a cut just because it's so quick. In high-speed combat, that becomes, not the highly controlled drill mode here. But if you can, it's a great little self-defense move because it has bait, deceit, as well as the ending all in one. Because you're there, you're inviting someone to cut, and when they do, you take them. See, very quick. The drill says here. Rob's turn. Jim's turn. That's our cue. See? in the fight, if we're here and he strikes and I do that, that's his cue to die, because I'm not feeding something and letting go so that he can then cut me. I'm feeding right here and taking those fingers and that arm or anything else. It's the beginning. That's your ticket to the dance. So you want to be calm. Closeness is security. Either stay out here and fight, or move in with impunity and get right in his face. But don't waffle. You're going to die then, because you don't know where you're at. So either stay out, taunt, threaten, move, whatever, or go right in with impunity and have enough confidence to do it. Give him a target that he'll take. Too good, you know, the offer you can't refuse. Those are always the ones that kill you. Many times, breaking your plane is a very unexpected thing to do. Most people can't do it very well. They don't practice it. Maybe their legs aren't strong enough. Go slowly. Don't have to do this a million times. But we've done some deployments here from the low line. Some of you probably tried this.